Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the Voice of College Football, coming to you on a Friday evening from the great state of New Jersey. I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup, and we're here on a Friday evening to discuss breaking news, including coaching changes at Rutgers, portal entries, the Big Ten Awards, and National Signing Day. So, Gabe, start us off. A lot of stuff has been happening at Rutgers in the last week, so what's going on?
Yeah, it's funny. We had a whole show on Monday, and we really only talked about the Penn State game, the season being over. Since then, holy crap, has there been a lot. So first off, we got 3 staff firings, and I think a lot of Rutgers Nation might rejoice in this. First off, Robb Smith, defensive coordinator, no longer with us. We had a Big Ten worst 209.9. You can round that up to 210 rushing yards per game. And we also allowed 31.8 points per game under his quote-unquote leadership. He should have never been back, and it's quite evident that didn't work, and the whole co-defensive coordinators thing didn't work. 2 more people got fired, but your initial thoughts on Robb Smith being done?
I got a few thoughts on that. Number one, look, the defense was not good this year. At times, they played well, but generally, they did not perform well consistently throughout the year. And the question is firing Robb Smith going to have a big impact in terms of the defense getting better? And the answer to that is I'm not so sure, because I think there's multiple factors that went into that defense playing the way it did. Number one, I don't think, you had a lot of people from the transfer portal. I'm not sure that there was ever any chemistry there. Number two, I don't know if the talent was there. So I think there were factors other than just Robb Smith. Now, having said that, the coaches do bear responsibility because, there were times all year where wide receivers were running wide open. Look at the Oregon game. Look at across the board, the defense could not stop anybody. So I think it's a combination of factors. But my question is not whether, it's good that we fired him. My question is, who are we going to get to replace him that is going to be a good coach and that is going to improve this defense? And I'm not sure what the answer to that is yet.
Yeah, he wasn't the priority when we got him, but we gave him a second chance in Piscataway. Looked worse than the first chance given the personnel and expectations. Next up, his co-defensive coordinator and also the linebackers coach, both are his titles. Zach Sparber is gone. And his main protege, Jabome, I'll get into it later, but he did get awarded an all-defensive honorable award with an all-Big Ten team. So, the linebackers weren't the problem on defense. They didn't necessarily look standout either. The defensive line and secondary, to me, they were inconsistent all year, but the linebackers were consistently just a little below average to me. So I understand the move. And also, he is co-defensive coordinator. So the entire defensive unit does come back to him along with Robb Smith, but he does bear responsibility too.
Well, yeah. And, look, like I said, it's easy to blame the coaches when the players don't play well. And certainly the coaches deserve some share of the blame. But I do think there were other issues with the defense, such as the talent level, execution, and chemistry. And again, I think it begs the question of, okay, well, who's going to replace Robb Smith and the co-defensive coordinator that's going to have a material impact to improve that defense? I also think there's one other thing at play here. I think this is potentially a message to Schiano, because, midway through the season, Schiano essentially said he was taking over the defense. So it seems to me that if you're going to blame the coaches, well, the person who said he was taking over for the defense midway through the season was the head coach, Greg Schiano. So my point being, I think you can deduce what I'm talking about. And I think this is kind of a message to Coach Schiano that, okay, for now we're firing the DC, but if next year is not an improvement, I think they may go higher and look for a new head coach.
I was just going to say that. Schiano is so polarizing, right? You either love the guy or you don't love the guy, for putting it in a better terminology, nicer terminology at least. I've seen Scarlet Knight fans fire him immediately. I've seen Scarlet Knight fans say, extend him. He's the best coach we'll possibly get if we do fire him. Well, this is a message, and it reflects on what Kelly Zinn has said, that you judge a team by their wins and losses. 5-7 is not a good look in the Big Ten. And all of Schiano's staff on defense has basically gone because Colin Farrell, defensive line.
Hey, Gabe, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
there's an issue with your sound.
Is there?
Yeah, it's echoing and just breaking up a little bit.
Let me see. Is this better? Maybe if I bring it closer.
It's perfect now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So his third guy that got fired is Colin Farrell, defensive line coordinator or defensive line coach, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that front four had 6 sacks all season. When I say front four, I'm talking Jordan Walker, Bradley Weaver, who, by the way, bad news about Jordan Walker. We'll get into that. Jordan Thompson and Eric O'Neill, 6 sacks all year between them 4. And Eric O'Neill on his own in, a weaker conference, but it was still on his own. Last year had 13.5 sacks. That's more than double on his own. As a unit, they only had 6 sacks all year. There was just no quarterback pressure. And when there was, it was just really late into the season. So I understand Colin Farrell leaving. I am a little sad that it didn't work out because he seems like a very nice guy. He follows us on Instagram. I hope that his career turns around after a rough stint in Piscataway. But unfortunately, business is business. And when it comes to these defensive staffers leaving, I'm just thinking, you're right that it's not 100% their fault. But defensively, we hit a very bad pit last year. You could even argue it was rock bottom. So with these firings, I mean, we could bring in Mickey Mouse and it might not get worse. So,
well, who hired them?
Well, the guy who started play calling after he took away the responsibility from Robb Smith.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's like, you make a good point. Some people like Coach Schiano, some people don't. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Schiano. I love the guy personally. I think he's a great person. He's done some great things. But, he hired these people. He said midway through the season, or at least indicated or suggested, that he was taking a more active role in coaching the defense. And then at the end of the season, the 3 coaches get fired. But Coach Schiano, it's like, what about you? I mean, what is your role in this from both a hiring perspective and from a coaching perspective? And I think what it boils down to is Kelly Zinn is not going to fire the head coach in her first, several months as athletic director. But I think it was a message coming from an athletic director that is accustomed to championships at LSU that more of the same will not be tolerated.
More of the same won't be tolerated. She's sending a message that she's not afraid to intervene when it comes to Schiano's staff. So when I said that he's polarizing, you either love him or I guess I'll say it, you either love him or hate him. I was talking about not his tenure, but the future for him at Rutgers. That's sort of what I was referencing.
Well, you're right about that. You're right. That's very true.
It feels like everybody if you're a real Rutgers football fan, you respect the guy. No matter if you want him fired or want him extended for this life and reincarnated into the next one, you love the guy. At least for bringing us back into relevancy, you could say 1.5 times. I would say twice, but this season did feel like a regression. But I mean, with that being said, let's talk transfer portal because that's sort of a direct correlation of a bad season is you see what guys want to get the hell out and what guys want to stay.
Yeah, and we got 3 players currently in the portal. Will it lead to more? So who are these 3 players and how significant do you think it is, Gabe?
Well, I see all 3. Honestly, all 3 players are significant losses culturally because CJ Campbell is the first one to enter the portal. He did so, I believe, on Wednesday. And he's significant because of the idea of CJ Campbell. He rushes for over 1,000 yards at Florida Atlantic. He has FSU experience, so he's played in the Power 4 before. He had a 77-yard touchdown run, I believe, for Florida State his sophomore year. He comes in. He's honestly expected to be RB1. And it looks like him and Raymond are splitting carries for the first 2.5 games. And then he's out for the year. And he was a senior. This was his last year of eligibility before he got hurt. And now he has another year, but he decides not to stick around in Piscataway. And you can argue it's because of Raymond's emergence. And so losing CJ Campbell does suck. But on the other hand, maybe he knows something that we don't about Raymond staying around. And if that's the case with Mike Dukes coming in too, who I believe can be an instant impact player, number one running back in his class and out of Michigan, the state of Michigan, not the university, that could be a great 1-2 tandem. So I'm sad about CJ leaving because he seems like a great guy. He was clearly going to be either RB1 or 1B. But Raymond's emergence, you can thank Raymond for, in my opinion, for him transferring. And hopefully that means Raymond is staying.
Yeah. I think with CJ Campbell, it's one of those cases where you're just always going to wonder what could have been.
Yeah.
A very talented running back, certainly number one or competing for the number one position at running back, but just suffered a really bad injury, and hope he recovers well and lands somewhere where he can shine. But I do think that as he was probably assessing the situation, seeing Raymond emerge as a top flight running back, coupled with the fact that we do have Deshaun Benjamin behind him, who was also talented, that he thought, you know what, instead of getting into a battle for playing time, I'm going to go somewhere where I can play and show NFL scouts that my injury is not as impactful as some might think.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. And speaking of running backs entering the portal, the other guy I mentioned is Sam Brown the fifth. He came back from injury last year into this year. He was like RB2.5. Him and Deshaun Benjamin really took turns throughout the later 3 quarters of the year being RB2. He didn't look amazing as RB2, but I do have to commend the guy for being here for so many years, behind Monangai, behind Raymond, and never complaining. He never made it a focal point like, hey, give me the ball or I'm out of here. And after, I believe this was season number 4 for him in Piscataway. I'm going to look that up just in case I'm wrong. And he has been a trooper the whole time. So, and I'm sure the guys in the locker room love him. I'm sure Shiano loves him because he never gave up. He could have quit on the team. He could have transferred. And yes, it says here that he is a senior. He has been here for 4 years. But he, I guess, is declaring for a redshirt 5th season. Sad to see him go too. I hope that he kills it in the G5 because I don't necessarily think that he's going to a Power 4 team. If he did, I don't think it would be a great career move. I'm hoping that he sort of finds a team like a Florida Atlantic that can make him sort of their focal point.
Absolutely. And, I'll tell you, one name that jumps out at me as someone who might enter the portal, Deshaun Benjamin. He didn't get the kind of playing time this year I'm sure he hoped for. And once again, Raymond's emergence, will he stay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like before both Campbell and Sam Brown declared, I would have said with Raymond it's 50-50. But maybe these guys know something. Maybe Raymond said something about wanting to stay, being vocal about it. So I'm hoping that he stays. KJ Duff, on the other hand, I'm kind of thinking that he might not stay just because that catch against Penn State, that was like an OBJ level catch. That was a Garrett Wilson last year level catch. We just saw it with Traylon Burks for the Commanders. Like, it was that good. I'm hoping that he stays, but I'm a little skeptical, especially with the amount of money he can get in the portal.
Yeah, I think that KJ Duff is going to go. And I think Ian Strong is likely. If KJ goes, I think Ian is either going to declare for the draft or transfer. I tend to lean towards declaring for the draft because Rutgers will offer KJ money, but I think that with his talent, there's a strong likelihood that he wants to be at an elite program and get probably more NIL money. But there's a flip side. The flip side to this, though, is, KJ, you're a star at Rutgers, okay? You are going to be the star wideout for this Rutgers football team. Yeah. Does he have enough faith in AJ Surace to believe that, and in the offense generally, and the coaches, to believe that he can shine in that offense? or does he feel like he's going to be limited by a quarterback who's in his first year as a starter, or whoever the quarterback might be? I think he's going to consider those things as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I don't necessarily like this. You're right that this would be his first year as the solidified wide receiver one, because even if Strong comes back, I think that KJ Duff is the guy. With Strong, I really do think that he's declaring. And, that's not to say that he can't be as good, if not better, next year. But I do think that he would either declare or stay. And I think if he stayed, he would be wide receiver 2, and that would knock his draft stock down a little bit. So I'm thinking that KJ, if you want to stay, you're the guy, man. I know it's not 5th year, Ethan, but with Surace, or if we get someone in the portal, which, by the way, I don't think we're going to have a quarterback problem again, honestly, for a very long time. I think that it's either going to be an AJ Surace who we know will be good, or we're going to get a quarterback that will be good in the portal. So yeah. I want KJ to stay for that reason.
And I think it's going to be a scenario where either both of them stay or both of them leave. I don't think, KJ and Ian, respectively, I think they want to be in a position where there's a legitimate threat in the number 2 wideout position, because that makes it easier for them to shine when the defense has to be concerned about more than one receiver. I don't think they're going to want to be in a situation where, for example, Ian's gone and KJ is the number 1 target by far, and there's not really anybody below him that's a threat to defenses. So I think it's going to be all or nothing, and my prediction is that it's going to be, unfortunately, nothing, and they're both going to go.
See, that's a fair point, but I think that if Ian Strong were to declare or transfer, I think Ben Black can hold it down as wide receiver too. He's only going to be a junior, and to me, he looked just as good as DT when he was out there. I mean, I think he's got all the tools, the physicality, the leaping ability, the route running to be a really good wide receiver too, adjacent to a DT or Ian Strong in terms of skill. And I believe that would not Ben Black specifically, but he would be good enough of a wide receiver 2 for KJ Duff still to put up elite numbers as a wide receiver 1. But that's just my opinion. And lastly, Jordan Walker, after 2 years at Rutgers, he was one of 2 returning players for the Rutgers starting defense last year. He is also going to be in the portal. God bless you. If you guys did not know, Mr. Adam here is sick, and he's still doing the show. So shout out.
Getting over the flu, guys. Sorry.
You're good. I mean, if you, hey man, you sound a little emotional. If you need to take a few breaths, that's all good by me.
It's not the emotion. It's not emotion. It's just
not the emotions.
It's just feeling so sick.
Jokes aside, I hope he gets better soon. And Jordan Walker, interesting year. He only got 1 sack compared to 2024. He got 4 sacks, no fumbles, no recoveries, but he did get 25 tackles, and he got 3 more solo, 3 more assisted than 2024. For a defensive tackle or defensive lineman, I guess, that is pretty good. So it sucks that he's going, just because that's some stability out of the defensive front that now we're going to have to, once again, look for a new player to fill his role, whether that's within or in the portal. I personally want Wadiq Collier starting on this damn team next year. I think he is a beast, and if he isn't starting, he's going to hit the portal himself. So I really want Collier to either fill his shoes or, fill Eric O'Neill's shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to the portal, it's not just who's going into the portal; it's who we're going to get from the portal, because the players that we got from the portal, although good, didn't pan out in the way that I think Coach Schiano expected. And I think that was his biggest source of probably distress, is I think he thought the players would perform better than they did this year. And you know what? Player evaluations can be hit or miss, and I think there were more misses this year. So who we're going to get in the portal is going to be critical, I think, to getting players who can have an immediate impact and changing the course of this program.
Yeah, I mean, the bad part about this time of the year is you're only losing guys. You're not really getting any. After signing day, of course. Signing day, you get 20 in a row, and we will be talking about that a little later on into the show. But at this time of the year, after signing day, you're only losing players, so it kind of sucks. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's certainly
the good part is from now until January 2nd, the rumor mill is going to churn, and hopefully, I mean, every day that Raymond, KJ Duff, Ian Strong, don't enter the portal is a win. So every single day, I'm gonna thank my lucky stars for that. But that's it for the portal. And by the way, Jordan Walker, team captain too, so you lose that element.
Yeah, I also I could be cynical, but what I think is probably happening is that schools are contacting KJ behind the scenes, and if he really, really finds a place where he wants to go for the right money, then I think he'll enter the portal and he'll just go. But I'm sure that a lot of teams are probably texting him right now.
Yeah, Jason, you don't think that Wadiq can be a finesse guy on the edge? I sort of think of him as a speedy edge rather than
a little too thin. He's a little too thin. He's like 180 pounds, I think.
I guess. I mean, we see what Abdul Carter's doing for the Giants this year, so I guess it's possible he could get a little more meat. Pause. And yes, I was your prom king. The secret's out. How are you doing, Austin? It's been a little bit since you've entered the show as a guest.
Carrie was the prom queen. Remember Carrie? Yeah, 1976.
Oh, I thought you were setting up like a D's Nuts joke or something.
No, it was a horror movie in 1976. She was. If you haven't seen it, I'm old. I get what I just said. Yeah.
I'm sure someone in the audience will get that. Maybe Jason, whose age could be between.
Jason, do you remember Carrie? Remember the pig's blood? She got humiliated, and then
I mean, look, Jason's he's somewhere between 20 and 60. I don't know where, but that's the age range for him.
He's closer to 60 because he has expert knowledge of Rutgers football going back many years. Yeah. Okay. So Tom, I do understand that, and I'll correct that. Schools are in contact with the players. That's why I said I'm probably being a bit cynical.
To be fair, he did say that.
But players' agents are contacting schools, which kind of on a broader level reflects what my point was, is that there's stuff going on behind the scenes. And so it's not the schools contact, but the agents are. So that's what I was saying, that the transfer portal at face value does not indicate necessarily that there's not stuff going on that may lead to a player's transfer. But thank you for that correction. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, and Jason, I get that KJ is friends with Sayin. Here's the deal, though. They already have Jeremiah Smith. They already have Carnell Tate. And guess what? Just freaking today, they got the number 1 wide receiver in his class, who I'm forgetting the name of. And as we are live, 2026 Illinois defensive back Messiah Tilson has flipped his commitment from Kentucky to Rutgers. Boom! So scratch everything I said about only losing guys, because we just got another. Woohoo!
There you go.
It's me, Mario. Okay, so we deduced this age range a little bit then. Maybe instead of 20 to 60, it's 20 to 50. And yes, they did get Henry. Henry. That's his name. I forgot. I think what's his first name? It's Chris, something with a C. Number 1 wide receiver in the class of 2026. So that's another juggernaut wide receiver for them, going to wide receiver University of the Ohio State. So I don't think KJ would go there, but that's one school down out of a possible other 50.
And there's a million factors that he's going to be considering. He's going to be considering, sure, NIL. What's his likelihood of having an impactful role on a team he goes to? What do his parents think? What does he think of Rutgers? Does he love the culture there? Does he like being there?
We know that his dad loves and bleeds Rutgers. He is a pillar to the community. So that's one element that we got for us. But that being said, his dad seems like an incredible guy. I don't think that he would necessarily think any less of his son for getting the bag.
Well, the bottom line is KJ's got to do what's best for KJ. And I do think he's in a win-win situation. If he stays at Rutgers, he's still going to be a standout wide receiver and have NFL scouts evaluating him. If he goes to an Ohio State or an SEC school, I think he's going to still do very well. But I do think what he wants to avoid is going to a school where he's not going to necessarily get the same amount of playing time and be overshadowed by, say, a Jeremiah Smith. So he's got to be careful in where he decides to go, because, the truth of the matter is, against Oregon and particularly against Ohio State, our wide receivers really didn't get any separation. So I
Yeah.
think it's got to be a very careful decision, and I think his decision is going to be based on what's best for me to maximize my draft prospects in the NFL.
Yeah, it's totally fair. And Austin, with the question here, is 2026 still your magic year?
No, it is not.
Mm.
It is not my magic year. I was basing that statement that I believe 2026 could be a year where Rutgers gets 8 wins or even possibly makes the playoff was based on the assumption that the defense was going to be substantially better than it really was.
Most of the defense is changing, though.
Yeah, that's true that the defense is changing, but I'm not so sure that change is necessarily for the better because the defense changed a lot this year and it produced one of the worst, performances I'd say in the last 25 years. So
historically bad.
It was also based on the fact that, the schedule next year is much more, in my opinion, favorable, such that the hardest games are at home. Not that that'll make a huge difference, but there's more winnable games than there were this year. But having said that, it started in the spring game when I had my doubts when A.J. Surace torched the secondary for over 200 yards.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't think next year is going to be a magical year. What I'm looking for next year, and what I think Kelly Zim will demand, is at least 7 wins with a target of 8. My prediction, very early prediction, could change, is that it's going to be a 6-6 season.
I'm leaning with 8-4 being the ceiling and 6-6 hopefully being the floor. But man, I thought 6-6 was the floor this year, and we just couldn't win any of those 45, 55 games. So yeah, I mean, and Austin, you guys might win by multiple touchdowns, but you know what? We stole Devontae Anderson from you guys. Yeah, take that.
Austin, the problem you have with Louisville is the same problem we have with Rutgers, albeit on a slightly different level, because I think Louisville is a better program. You guys go and you beat Miami, but then you lose games that you should win. And it has to make you question, what is the cause of a team like Rutgers consistently losing games to, say, a Minnesota or an Illinois? Remember what happened to Illinois last year, where they can't get over that hump. And I'm sure there's many factors to it, but I tend to feel, and I hate to say this, that we may have reached our ceiling with our current coaches, just like Penn State reached his ceiling with James Franklin. And, I know people like to could vilify me for saying Coach Schiano maybe shouldn't go beyond next year. But if he doesn't produce at least 7 wins next year, I think it's time to, like Penn State did, to say, we love this guy with all our hearts, and he'll always be a champion of Rutgers, but we've got to have a change.
What the? I must have had a Mandela effect or something. I could have swore that we play Louisville next year.
We do not play Louisville, but I'm noticing Tom 4733. Tom.
And by the way, you only gave him 1 M when you said thanks, Tom 4733. He's got 2 M's. Just saying.
My apologies, Tom, with 2 M's. Tom reports that Sheffield, DT, is declaring for the NFL draft.
That could be that could just be the obvious truth. He's on his last year of eligibility. I don't know if DT's announced it yet. Take a gander real quick. And at the same time, we'll be moving on to Big Ten awards. Yes, he has declared for the 2026 NFL draft. Good job, Tom. Thank you for that information. As of 39 minutes ago, he, let's see here.
DT could possibly have a situational role, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's fast. He's got explosiveness. He's a good route runner. I think I could see.
Got some good tape too.
Yeah, and I could see DT being kind of like bringing him in on 3rd and 6, third down plays, or some specifically designed plays for him, putting him in situational spots.
The first guy that came to mind was Turpin from the Cowboys. That's sort of a comparison I can think of for DT. He had some great highlights for us this year. He also had some drops, some rough drops, like Jason says. I think a lot of his tape will probably be from North Texas, but he has some. I mean, look, week 1 against Ohio, he had a great game. Against Ohio State, he was utilized early and often, and he had some flashy plays. I believe his biggest play, I think it was either against Iowa or Minnesota. It was a huge bomb, and it got taken back because of a holding. But regardless, best of luck, DT. You've came on the show. We much appreciate that. We'd love to have you back on, discuss your highs and lows, both at Rutgers and college overall, what you've learned from the game and outside of it, so on and so forth. What team you're possibly a fan of? Not saying that that'll impact your draft per se, but I mean, I'm excited to see what DT does in the NFL, or if he has to be in the UFL, CFL. But obviously, the goal is the NFL, and I hope that he gets there and makes an impact. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, he was great to interview and really stand-up guy, and wish him the best.
Yes, sir. Now, on to the awards. We had some Big Ten awards announcements. We have all defensive, all offensive, and we have an individual winning a specific award. Let's start off with the one that somehow some players on this team got on, which is all defensive. And I'm going to throw in special teams in there too. Big Ten all defensive teams. For the defense, Bo Masco, Dariel Jabome, and Jet Elad made it. And for special teams, Jay Patel and Jacob Anderson. So congrats to all of you guys. Jacob Anderson, wonderful punter. Jay Patel had a rough couple of weeks, but other than that, model of consistency. Absolute model of consistency. Bo Masco, probably our best in the secondary. Jet Elad had a lot of big plays for us towards the middle and end of the season. And Jabome was the one consistent linebacker that we had all year. So congrats to all of you.
Yeah, congratulations to them. And I think, this was a season like last season that the coaches and players are going to look back and say there were opportunities for us that we didn't take advantage of. And at what point is that going to change? And hopefully next year we're going to see not only an improved defense, but we're going to see a team that doesn't flinch in the fourth quarter, because I saw that as a real problem this year against Iowa, against Washington, against Minnesota, and of course against Penn State. Is there going to be a different mindset where, the fourth quarter is where we go and win the game instead of finding a way to lose it?
Well, Jason, you're right that he put Patel in some tough situations. I would say he did better than okay. He had the record for most consecutive field goals made while wearing a Rutgers Scarlet Knights uniform. He had a very rough 2.5 game stretch this year. Outside of that, like I said, model of consistency. And what I liked about Patel is he wasn't necessarily a power kicker, but he was the perfect rhythm kicker. And his rhythm got thrown off. His mechanics got thrown off for a couple of weeks. And then once he found it again, he just couldn't miss again. And he ended the year doing exactly what he started the year doing, which is making everything he had the chance to make.
Yeah. My feeling on Jay Patel is that he was good, but not great. But I do think that towards the end of the season, he really came on. And for that, he deserves credit. I don't necessarily think he'll be a draft prospect, but put together a good career for the Rutgers, and we appreciate it and wish him the best.
Most of the best kickers don't get drafted, so I think you're right about that. And when they do get drafted, a lot of the times they're busts. Look at Jake Moody, got drafted in the 3rd round by the 49ers and then got waived 2 years later. So it's not always a guarantee, and you probably are better off not drafting a kicker in the NFL. But I don't want that to be the narrative. I do wish that these kickers could get their draft day money. But that's it for the special teams and defense. Offensively, Antoine Raymond made it. Kwabena Asamoah made it. KJ Duff made it. And Ian Strong made it. Surprisingly, Zelinskas did not make it, and Athan did not make it. I mean,
how many quarterbacks do they choose?
I believe it is 2, but I'm going to look right now. I know Sayin definitely made it. Oh, wait, Sayin and Mendoza. If it's 2, Sayin and Mendoza 100% will.
Yeah, that explains it.
Yeah. Let's see. There's 3 teams, and the 3rd was Mayava. I can't be mad at that. Did you hear me, Mr. Adam?
No, what did you say?
There's 3 teams, and the third one was Mayava, so I can't really be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, passed for over 3,000 yards. He was substantially improved from last year, and certainly had a good year. And in a show we're going to do very soon, we're going to talk exclusively about what we think is the future for Ethan based on his performance this season. Stay tuned for that in the coming week.
Yeah, if there was a 4th team, Ethan gets in. And Ethan might have on par stats to get in. But
I think Dante Moore gets in over him.
It's the record.
Dante Moore gets the 4th spot.
Oh, right. Dante Moore. Duh. But at the end of the day, even though he puts up adjacent numbers, it's the record. It's always the team record that makes the difference. When
I was at the Rutgers game, I happened to for once I decided to go all out and get the best seats I could. So I was in section 127 in the first row, right behind the players. And when I was watching Ethan throughout the game, really it was very impressive because, number one, he went through his progressions quickly and effectively. Number two, he was very accurate, including on some balls that were, in tight windows. I didn't really like when he scrambled. I just don't think that's his thing. But he was impressive. There's no question about that. And I could potentially see him as a late round or undrafted free agent pick who's a backup somewhere, or maybe in the CFL or something. But
he's too good for the CFL.
Yeah, well, he was a quarterback that elevated Rutgers' offense into an offense that was, a dangerous offense in the Big Ten. And if we had had a very good defense, who knows what could have happened with this team this year.
I mean, I'll still say it. Last year's defense with this year's offense is a playoff team. And what happens with Ethan, or not what happens with him, but sort of his identity as a quarterback comparing to other college quarterbacks is, in my opinion, he checks down the ball fine, because what quarterback doesn't? He has the best deep throwing accuracy from any quarterback I've seen in college football this year. It's just his medium accuracy. His medium accuracy is where he struggled as a throwing quarterback. I saw it against Illinois. I saw it against Ohio State, against Oregon, against these good defenses outside of Illinois not being a great defense. He is not a great medium passer. He's an okay medium level passer, like in the 10 to 15 yard range. But he has got the Josh Allen, the Patrick Mahomes type of arm.
Yeah, he has a very good arm. And I think what NFL scouts look for, I mean, of course they look for the raw, fundamentals. Do they have the arm? Do they have the physical attributes? But they look most importantly for the intangibles. Can this guy read a defense? Can he progress quickly and effectively? And he does that very well. And he does fit the ball into tight windows. So the question is going to be whether I think they believe he has the physical attributes to be an NFL quarterback. And, that's where I think the rubber meets the road.
Makes sense. And also, no Gus Zelinskas. The guys that did make it for the center are Logan Jones out of Iowa, first team. Yapani Lalaulu, I believe is his name, out of Oregon, and Pat Coogan out of Indiana. I don't know too much about their PFF grades or anything like how many sacks they allowed, but I do know as a unit, Oregon is one of the better units in college football. And same with Indiana. What surprises me is Iowa had 2 guys making the all Big Ten first team in the front line. They had Logan Jones center and Bo Stevens first team out of Iowa at guard. So, I mean, I guess if their unit was really that good, then fine. But Gus Zelinskas was really good this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's it for the all Big Ten teams. But individually, speaking of Gus Zelinskas, he was a winner of the Big Ten Sportsmanship Award. So even though he didn't get to be on the talent list, he was just such a good guy this year that they couldn't make him not have anything. So
I'm going to give a very, very, very short speech right now.
Oh, okay. Where's yours?
This Best Sportsmanship Award should be launched into orbit, where it explodes under the force of the atmosphere. Right, I don't know what the heck that is. Is that the version of the participation trophy. I mean, don't give me this great sportsmanship. I mean, yes, sportsmanship is important, but 99.9% of players exemplify that. You reward for performance, not because you're a nice guy. And if anybody doubts that, well, then do you want your team to have good sportsmen? Yes, but should that be something that's highlighted? No, we want them to win games and win awards. What do you think, Gabe?
Well, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. Adam hates sportsmanship.
No, I did not say that. It's one attribute that I would give an award for, though.
All right. Well, just know that Adam aims for the knees. He aims for the sensitive areas, and when he's playing football, he's trying to knock you out. So that's it for the awards. No, but I do agree that I like the award. I like that it's given, but I don't know how the hell you determine or measure it.
Jackson Johnson says, "Who's the biggest bum in college football?"
He's trying to instigate. Come on, Jackson. I got pizza waiting for
me. I feel like it would be in my best interest, my best, for physical safety and emotional well-being, not to name.
Yeah, lawyer up.
Person. But Jackson, if you've seen any of my comments on prior shows at the Voice of College Football, I suspect you will know who I would pick for that dubious designation.
All right. So last segment of the emergency podcast, the necessary emergency podcast, as you can all tell by how much has happened since Monday night. And Adam and I and Donovan, and I am kind of going impromptu with this, will have a show where we look at all of these guys that are signing and break them down. What are they good at? What are they bad at? Their stats. How can they make an impact? All of it, A to Z. But there's 21 guys, and we've already been on here for 40 minutes. So I'm going to name the guys and give them a big old congratulations. And maybe next week, if we don't do another surprise interview, because we have somebody that may or may not be interviewing. And Jackson, you couldn't be more correct. We need 3,000 subs, and we need your help at home. So like and subscribe. But all right, you know that song, that chemistry song where you name all the elements? It's like, I believe it's in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, where Gale is like singing in his laboratory. He's like, that's what I'm about to do, because there's 21 of these guys.
That was a beautiful laboratory, wasn't it?
It was. Some crazy stuff hidden underneath that laboratory. You should watch Better Call Saul if you haven't. No spoilers, though, of course. All right. R.J. Wortman Jr., Sebastian Cruz, Xavier Stern, Devontae Anderson, Cameron Green, DJ Howerton, Reese Beck, Logan Anthony, J.J. Conyers, Donovan Johnson, Ronaldo Callaway III, Tyler Duell, Brandon Murray, Mike Dukes III, Tanner Raymond, Jared Smith, Joey Kopic, Elias Cody Koch, Jermaine Polk, Brady Owens, Desir Carter, and, of course, we have our new guy, Messiah Tilson. Congratulations on all signing to Rutgers University. And we did lose one guy, 3-star corner Chris Dewitt Jr. to Georgia Tech, but a 22-1 ratio is pretty darn good for signing. So congratulations, guys. Welcome to the Rutgers University.
Yeah, congratulations to the recruits. It was funny because at the game against Penn State, they were walking along the sideline like 2 feet from us like several times, and there looked like there were there's some impressive looking players there. Congratulations to all of them, and what I think is a very credible recruiting class. Yeah. I believe ranked 48th in the country at this point. And hopefully we'll continue to build a foundation at Rutgers that will be able to take this season, put it in the rearview mirror, and really start building a team that's going to compete for championships in the Big Ten.
Absolutely. And, man, we did fall a little bit, but we're still ranked 39 according to 247 Sports. We were like in the top 10 at one point. When we first got Jared Smith and Cody Koch, and we had Tavion Branch, I believe we were in the top 10 at one point.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to see from Rutgers is, I bet you their NIL is probably going to be around 18 to 20 million. So I do think that's going to result in an upgrade, of course, in our roster. But NIL isn't everything. Yes, NIL lets you get better players, but are you going to get players that are going to be a cohesive team? Are you going to get players with the intangibles? And most importantly, are you going to have quality in-game coaching that is going to bring out the best in them and maximize their chances of success? I still think that there are a lot of uncertainties about the future of the program that I think next year is going to provide a lot of answers to. And I think that it will time is going to give us the answers as to where this team needs to go. And I think next year is when that'll happen.
150%. So with that being said, I would love to guarantee that we spend next week either interviewing a specific player out of that list because we have something possibly set up, either that, talking about Ethan, or talking about this entire class. But with so much crazy news these past few days and the portal heating up, vacancies on the defensive side of the football with the staff, I can't guarantee what we're going to talk about next week, and I don't think Adam can either. But that's all we got for this rollout for.
Well, there's Friday. One more thing, Gabe. One more thing. I mean to interrupt you, but
sure.
Gabe is 100% right that you're likely going to see us having more shows and more topics as we head into the off season, where we'll be here every week until season resumes again. But one thing I want to say to the Rutgers players is that we're going to be continuing to extend invitations to you to come on the show, and be assured we're not going to ask you anything controversial. We're not going to ask you any question that's going to lead you to give an answer that you don't want to give. What we're looking for is to have the audience, instead hearing just from us, hearing it from the players themselves. And that's what is really what matters, is the players. And, we welcome you onto the show. We want you to be here and hope that you'll accept our invitations to talk about Rutgers football.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's not just directed to players or parents that would love to be on this show but possibly can't. That's directed to Rutgers staff that might be afraid of what we'll ask. We're not asking anything out of line. In fact, what we're doing is, when we are extending these invites, we are asking, what don't you want us to talk about? What shouldn't we talk about? And we know not to talk about perhaps a transfer portal if a player is on the verge of either deciding that he will or won't enter the portal. It's not about what do you think of this or that when it comes to like people staying or leaving. That's out of their control, and we know that. We're just looking to have a good time, keep it lighthearted, talk about some stuff that goes good or bad, but in a constructive manner. And, like Adam said, it's not just for us. It's for the audience too. It's for Rutgers Nation. So go Scarlet Knights. And I hope that these interview invites, not just accepted, but that they get cleared too.
Absolutely. And, thanks to you guys for always being here as we head into an off season and a great holiday season. So we'll see you back here Monday night, 7 p.m. And as always, go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights.